live from the BMO Centre here in Calgary, Alberta. It is an early start to a day here in the WHL as the 2011 Western Hockey League Bantam Draft is taking place live here on WHL.ca. Good morning. Thanks for being with us wherever you're tuning us in online throughout Western Canada or perhaps the Western United States. I'm your host, Joey Kenward. My co-host this morning is Tyler Boldt, who is the Manager of Player Development and Recruitment for the Western Hockey League, a one-time first-round Bantam Draft pick in the Western Hockey League. Thank you for joining me, Tyler.
Absolutely. Pleasure to be here, Joey.
It is a very, very big day for the WHL, maybe the biggest day outside of regular season or playoff games when it comes to building the future of a franchise, and this is what it's all about for the young future stars of the WHL.
Yeah, truly it is. You know, our club's been working for a long, long time to get to this point, and especially the last 5-6 weeks, building on their scouting rosters and planning everything out to get here. So I know everything from our scouts to our coaches to our general managers to all the young players are pretty excited about today.
Now your job in charge of player development and recruitment entails going around through every point that the WHL covers, not only on this side of the border but below the border, and I know you've had a chance to see a lot of the players that will be picked today firsthand. This is a great crop of stars that are in the making here for major junior hockey.
Yeah, it truly is. You know, you have your usual high-end talent that'll get selected right away, and we're pretty excited to see those kids in the league one day. But I think a lot of people have come to the conclusion that it's a very deep draft this year, where you can get impact guys right through the first few rounds.
Let's take a look at some of the high-profile names from throughout Western Canada that could be top picks today here in the Western Hockey League. We've split them up by position. Jake Virtanen is rated by many as the highest BC-born player, a star forward from Abbotsford. He very well could go number one overall today. Ryan Gropp from Kamloops, Reed Duke from Calgary, also expected to be high-end selections today. Ryan Pilon, who's got good bloodlines. His second cousin, Rich Pilon, of course, had a good career in the WHL and the NHL. Bryson Martin, Jordan Thompson from Alberta and Manitoba, a couple of other high-end blue liners, and two goaltenders who very well could be first-round selections today, Jordan Paperny of Edmonton and Peyton Lee out of Cranbrook, BC. So those are some of the top prospects, but it's very important to also recognize that even if a player doesn't get picked today in the draft, Tyler, that doesn't mean it's the end. There's been a lot of players who have had great careers in the Western League and in the NHL, for that matter, who were never picked in the Bantam Draft.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I'm lucky in my travels to get to let everybody know that as they go. And two key names we always focus on are Shane Doan and Jerome McGinley, two guys that never got a phone call on a day like this, you know, including Shea Weber and a lot of players in our league today.
All right, let's take a look at the draft order. This is round one coverage this morning here on WHL.ca, and the Calgary Hitmen in just a few moments' time will have the first overall selection. The Swift Current Broncos have a busy day. They are going to be picking number 2 overall, but the Lethbridge Hurricanes have one of their biggest days in franchise history. There you see they have the 3rd and 5th overall selections. They have loaded up for this year's draft. They've got a lot of picks in the first 2 rounds. The Kamloops Blazers will be the other team rounding out the top 5. And there you see Victoria. It'll be an interesting day in their history as their new owner, Graham Lee, and their general manager and head coach, Mark Habscheid, are both here. Obviously, a great day for that franchise continuing to build on Vancouver Island.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially this generation of hockey players, haven't had the opportunity to play in Victoria in the Western Hockey League, so I think everybody's pretty excited to make the trip on the ferry over there a number of times.
You had a chance, I'm sure you'll recall, as a youngster to be picked in round 1 of the WHL Bantam Draft. Can you recall what it was that day when you heard the Kamloops Blazers give you a phone call?
Absolutely. You know, for those people from Winnipeg that are watching right now, I was driving down Roblin Boulevard with my mom in our 99 Honda Civic and heard it on the radio about 12 years ago, so it's a very exciting day they'll remember.
All right, let's head to the podium here at the BMO Centre to Vice President of the Western Hockey League, Richard Dirksen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to welcome everyone to the 2011 Western Hockey League Bantam Draft. I would like to call up the Commissioner of the Western Hockey League, Mr. Ron Robison.
Thank you very much, Rick. Good morning, everyone. Well, this is a day our 22 member clubs and their scouting staffs have been waiting for all season for the WHL Bantam Draft. Countless trips to arenas throughout Western Canada and the U.S., including the last 6 weeks of 4 provincial high-performance camps in Western Canada, the Western Bantam Championship, and our U.S. Prospects Camp in Anaheim, California. Now the scouts finally get that opportunity to make the difficult decisions of selecting the prospects that will form their rosters in the future and immediately become part of their 50-player protected list. I'd like to congratulate our clubs in setting such a high standard of operation. I think it is clearly now the number one choice for prospects throughout Western and North America, particularly here in Western Canada. We're making great strides in the U.S. as well to attract the top players to this league as a result of the fact that not only do they get the best development from an on-ice perspective as they develop into young players, but also get the best and most comprehensive education program available in North America today. Scouting is obviously a vital part of this process, and it's only the first step in the process of selecting players who will ultimately play in a Western Hockey League club. For those players who do not get selected in the Bantam Draft, it's important to note that all clubs continue to scout and evaluate talent on an ongoing process. You should never think that the doors are closed to the Western Hockey League, as searching for talent is an ongoing process for all of our 22 member clubs. Just think about the players who were not selected in the Western Hockey League Bantam Draft over the years. Shea Weber of the Nashville Predators, Milan Lucic of the Boston Bruins, Dan Hamhuis of the Vancouver Canucks, Jerome McGinley of the Calgary Flames, or Shane Doan of the Phoenix Coyotes, just to name a few. I'd like to congratulate all the clubs on the hard work that they put in over the course of the season and wish them the very best of success in today's draft. I'd also like to make note of the fact that our Western Hockey League Championship Series will open tomorrow in Portland. A couple of real storylines that are associated with this year's Championship Series. Of course, the amazing turnaround of the Portland Winterhawk franchise that was in some significant difficulty over the last few years to come to this point of representing the Western Conference in the Championship Series. Congratulations to Bill Gallagher, to Mike Johnson, and the entire organization on an outstanding job. And to the Kootenay Ice, who have the opportunity, under the leadership of Jeff Chenauth, General Manager, and a young coach, Jeff Knoplock, to get the opportunity to play for the Ed Chenauth Cup is a wonderful thing for the Chenauth family, and we wish the Kootenay Ice and the Portland Winterhawks the very best of luck in the Championship Series. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. To make the first pick in the 2011 WHL Bantam Draft, Brad Whalen, the Assistant General Manager of the Calgary Hitmen.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Calgary Hitmen, we want to wish the Kootenay Ice and Portland Winterhawks best of luck in the league final. And with the first pick in the 2011 Bantam Draft, first overall, Calgary selects Jake Virtanen, right wing, Abbotsford, BC.
Jake Virtanen, Abbotsford, BC, forward, Abbotsford Hawks.
Taking Abbotsford-born forward Jake Virtanen, number 1 overall. The Calgary Hitmen, last time they had a first overall pick was back in their first ever Bantam Draft, 1995, selecting forward Chris Nielsen. He went on to have a fantastic career with Calgary. There you see General Manager Kelly Kissio. It's been a long time coming for his team to be able to have the first overall selection in round number 1. Brad Whalen was the gentleman on the podium for Calgary that made the selection. He joins us here now at our headquarters here at the BMO Centre. Brad, congratulations. I know that it's not an easy thing to do to take the top player in the WHL. How much discussion was being made by your group in the days leading up to this morning's draft?
We had quite a bit of discussion. Obviously, it's a long season of scouting, and then we argued a lot of points and came down to Jake Virtanen. So
55 games played, 62 goals. That tells you right away he is maybe one of the better finishers out of any prospect in this year's draft.
for sure, we watched him numerous times, and he is a one-shot scorer, and we're excited to have him.
Congratulations on making the first overall pick. I know it's a busy day for you and everybody at your table. Good luck.
Thank you.
Brad Whalen, the head scout for the Calgary Hitmen, making that first overall selection today. Jake Virtanen from Abbotsford, British Columbia, the top pick in the 2011 WHL Bantam Draft. Next up on the clock is the Swift Current Broncos, and they're going to pick number 2 overall today. Let's take a look at some of their recent history from the Broncos when it comes to their top picks in the WHL Bantam Draft over the past number of years. Dylan Hetherington was a defenseman out of Calgary, selected 11th overall last year. Really the biggest impact player on that list is no longer on that roster, Tyler, and that's Cody Eakin, who's getting set for the WHL finale starting tomorrow when he and the Kootenay Ice play the Portland Winterhawks. Big day for Swift Current, their highest ever pick in the history of their Bantam Draft.
Yeah, you know, a real high pick and also a lot of picks in the first 2 rounds. And in speaking with some local Swift Current people, they're pretty excited, first off, about their first round selections, but also the depth in the first couple rounds.
Assistant GM Jamie Porter of the Broncos will be making the selection for Swift Current, number 2 overall.
With the second pick in the 2011 WHL Bantam Draft, I would like to call up Jamie Porter of the Swift Current Broncos, the Assistant General Manager and Director of Player Personnel.
Good morning. The Swift Current Broncos would first like to congratulate the Portland Winterhawks and the Kootenay Ice in the quest for the Ed Chanel Cup. With our first selection, the Swift Current Broncos select Bryson Martin, Calgary Bisons.
Calgary, Alberta's Bryson Martin is the number 2 overall pick, played for the Calgary Bisons in 31 games, 6 goals, 36 assists, and he was predicted by many to be one of the higher-end defensemen taken here in the draft. And Jamie Porter, who's the Assistant GM and Director of Player Development for the Swift Current Broncos, makes the pick. Congratulations, Jamie. I know this is a big day for the organization. You've never had this high a pick in the Bantam Draft. Tell us a little bit about the player you've selected this morning.
Well, Bryson played on one of the top teams in Alberta and in the Western League, and you know, he's a dynamic skater. We're looking for another guy to work our power play, and we think that Bryson has, you know, what we're looking for to match with what we've got in our young group.
3 of your last 4 first-round picks are defensemen. Is it safe to say you're a team right now that's wanting to build from the back end out?
Absolutely. I mean, we've always thought of ourselves that way. You know, someone's got to get the puck to those forwards.
Jamie, congratulations on the 2nd overall pick. Good luck the rest of the way this morning.
Thank you. Jamie
Porter, who is the Assistant GM for the Swift Current Broncos, following the number 2 overall pick, Calgary-born defenseman Bryson Martin, here at the BMO Centre. 3rd overall selection today goes to the Lethbridge Hurricanes, and this is going to go down as one of the biggest days in recent memory in Hurricanes history. They have struggled lately as a franchise in the WHL Central Division, missing the playoffs the past couple of years. Here's a look at their recent top-end draft history in the Western Hockey League. Jonathan Merkley was their last 1st overall selection for Rich Preston's group. That was his first draft as GM and head coach of the club. He was picked 3rd overall last year. They didn't have a first-round selection in 2009, but those final 4 players you see, Tyler, are all currently playing in the WHL, including Carter Ashton, who recently helped Canada to a silver medal at the World Junior Hockey Championships.
Yeah, a fairly strong draft class over the last little while, and I think you're right about this year being a big year for that organization as Rich Preston continues on his journey as GM.
Let's throw it back up to the podium to Vice President of the WHL, Richard Dirksen.
The 3rd selection belongs to the Lethbridge Hurricanes. I would like to call up Brad Robson, Assistant General Manager of the Hurricanes, to make the selection.
Thank you, Richard. Lethbridge Hurricanes also would like to wish the best of luck to the Portland Winterhawks and the Kootenay Ice in their quest for the Memorial Cup. And we'd also want to thank our fans and sponsors in Southern Alberta for their support in our season ticket drive in our 25th year coming up this season. And with that, the Lethbridge Hurricanes are very proud and pleased to select with our first pick in the 1st round, Ryan Pilon from Duck Lake, Saskatchewan, Warman Wildcats.
Ryan Pilon of Warman, Saskatchewan, who has pretty good bloodlines in the National Hockey League and the WHL, is going to the Lethbridge Hurricanes.
Yeah, great. All for his age, but also he really does play an all-around game. Good shot, good feet, everything that you need to play in the league.
He is considered by many the top prospect coming out of Saskatchewan this year. Brad Robson, who's the head scout, assistant general manager for the Hurricanes. We're only going to keep him a short time here because we're going to have him back here in a few minutes because he had the 3rd and 5th overall picks this morning, and I understand you guys are just thrilled to have this, what sounds